Like, I don't even know how to like screencaster on my computer yet.
Right, it's recording.
So yeah, how are you? How are you doing? You live really close.
Are you in Connecticut?
Yeah, I live like it's where I was from. Like I'm in New Britain, but it's like half an hour away from uh New Haven. I grew up in like Fairfield, so it's like in between like New Haven and like New York basically.
Okay. Yeah. I
What
remember
why did you come out? Aren't you from where are you from originally?
So I'm actually originally from the Philadelphia area,
Oh,
but I had moved around a lot and then moved down to Florida with my grandparents who sent me to CEDU.
oh right.
Yeah. So I went back to Florida and I ended up coming back to my roots after I had my son, and I've been here ever since.
Wow, how old is your son?
He just turned 22.
Crazy. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
I
So you
know.
married? Or you?
Yeah, I am married. I've been married for, it's going to be 10 years, but we've been together about 17.
Wow, that's great. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
so it's been a while. What about you?
Yeah, I've been with the same guy for like 10 years almost. Yeah, I floated around a lot. I just try, I've been trying to play music for forever. So I moved to Philly for like I was in Philly from like 2000 to like 2004. I loved it. I love how dirty it is. I love like the cool people are the ones that are like bike messengers. I love how like if you showered today, you're not cool, and like if people would come and move there from like LA and they would stick out like sore thumbs and like nobody would talk to them and they'd have to move. So I loved it there, but yeah, I had to leave, but I still visit sometimes. I was a nanny for family right on Fourth and South, and every day I just hold this baby and we walk up and down South Street. And then on the weekends, the parents would do the same thing, and everyone would be like, we know your nanny. She loves your kids so much. So it was fun. I love living there. It's like it's like a real city. It's like real people, and it's not like snotty, and you can
Yeah.
still afford to live there most of the time. So I come back a lot because I have somewhere to stay and stuff. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So um, so yeah, I've always been like stuck mentally, like there. Obviously CEDU and stuff. So like yeah, I always have like problems with that. I know like some people are able to like move on, um, but it's like still like a huge issue for me, especially with my dad. But I was asked. I saw a post that like this guy was like, oh, I went to another troubled teen school and I'm looking
Mhm.
for, to interview people about CEDU. And I was like, oh, I'll do it. I was like, I would love to have therapy for free. We talked for like 2.5 hours on his podcast, and I didn't realize how many sister schools there are, because he was telling me about his school. I honestly don't even remember the name of it right now, but there's like dozens, and like his school isn't even based. It's Cinnamon based. We know because he had a stretch like I had to be, Dorothy in The Summit, and he was Ricky Martin, and he had this thing, Live in La Vida Loca. So it was like that, like they had very similar weird things like that. But he was mostly interviewing me because he wanted to know how different the schools were. Like they didn't have peer groups. Like you moved on when they thought you could move on, and their profits were called like seminars, and like they had like hundreds of people in them instead of like 12 to 15 or something.
Yeah.
So like, and yeah, you could be there for 6 years, you could be for 2 years. So yeah, like if they didn't think that you were doing it, then they would keep you for years. So like I was like, oh shit. And then I was like, how am I on? And then I realized I was only the second person out of 60 interviews that he did that were from CEDU. And I was like, this is insane. I thought that we were the first, you know what I mean? Like we were told that like ours was the best and the hardest, and that, all the other troubled teen schools, or there might be other CEDU copies, but like we were the first and the best and the hardest. but it's not true. Like there's a lot of people that went through Synanon or did est, therapeutic things where they'd scream and stuff, and they're like, oh, I should make this into my own religion, my own thing or whatever, my own school. So we weren't we do know, I mean, we know for a fact that there were schools that started from ours, but like we weren't like, we weren't special. Like, I mean, there are other people that, Mel Wasserman wasn't, the only one that like that did this. But yeah, like it was just crazy to hear how different they were, and that like, but his was really recent, and there's like still like there's so many, like there's so many, and so it's like, like what is the point of talking about all this? It's like it's just painful or like whatever, just brings up stuff, but it's like no, there's fucking still kids that are still like, it's like, you do hear about like the gay conversion stuff, and it's like obviously that's horrible, and it's like it's very similar to that because it's like it's still behavior modification stuff, um but so yeah, that's the only reason why I wanted to like start talking about this again, is because like I was trying to get other people to talk to this kid, and they didn't know him, and they're, he like they didn't find him, I don't know. They just didn't know him. So like, I don't really, there was like, but people were like, but I would talk to you if you like did a new, a series of stuff. And so I don't know. Did you ever watch, there was a guy named Liam who did a whole bunch. Did you watch all of them? I'm sure you did. Yeah. So I actually met up with him and was interviewed by him. This was like almost 20, like 15 years ago, I guess. And because we talked about, like my mom died after I was there for a month, and it was pretty weird to like the way that they handled that. Um, so we talked about that, and then he died, I guess, a couple years ago, and so he's never gotten to work on the documentary again. Um, but yeah, so I mean, I do like. There's a couple reasons why I want to. It's not like I don't know if it's going to be a documentary or a series. You're my second interview, and I don't even really fully know the reasons why I want to do this. But I think that the fact that we have different opinions on our experiences there is important because, um, well, it's important for many different reasons, but like a lot of us still don't feel heard in the way that like we try to tell people what we did and they don't believe us, or like it's hard to explain to other people that we could read each other's body language and know if we were lying, or like. Um, like they're like the self-policing stuff, and like, dorm heads and stuff like that, but like how like, easily the staff could have left for a week and nobody would have noticed. It's, in some ways. Um, but yeah, I interviewed like Jamie Donahoe for like an
Mm.
hour and a half, and it was like really nice. And it was like, but I didn't realize he was a team head
Yeah,
after.
I remember him.
Yeah, but he was in my peer group, so it's like I don't find him in fault, and I really don't find very many staff like from at fault, because at the core of it, I know like we already talked just really quick about it, but like I believe that what we were in was by definition a cult, and if it wasn't, then it was abuse. But if it was a cult, then pretty much nobody was at fault because there were actual scripts for like the prophets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like yeah, so I wanted to like start a conversation with like all my friends and staff that would talk about it too, because they couldn't all have been evil fucking people. There was like I found like there's this girl named Lathrop who went to RMA, and she has an extensive website that's documented everything she can about all of them. So all right, so
Okay.
go ahead. What do you think?
Where do
You
you want me to
found
start? What do you want me to?
What so when you left, like what did you think about CEDU, and like has it changed over the years? Like
So, yeah, my perception from when I was 16 to now being 45, my perception has changed. Maybe not the way that you might think, but even when I left CEDU, when I left, I just kind of thought they didn't necessarily prepare us enough for acclimating back into the real world. And I do remember before we left, Bill Valentine had a meeting with all of us, like my peer group. And he said, guys, like everything that you've done here, like you're not necessarily, and these aren't the exact words, but this is what I interpreted, like you're not fixed. Like this is just the beginning of the work that you have to do in your life. And I remember him saying that to all of us, and that resonated with me, and it made sense to me even at 16. And I guess I felt like all these fresh wounds were opened up because of all the work that we did, right? It was so intense. Like every single day you were in your feelings, you weren't allowed to be in your head. Everything was, emotion, feel. And, there was, I think, a negative stigma put on to being in your head.
Yeah.
They had an entire workshop on, feeling versus thinking. So I get it. Like I get the theme. But I just didn't think that there was enough preparation for us to leave. And so, everybody had their own journey. My journey is going to be totally different than everybody else's. My support system was different than other people in my peer group. And, I didn't even know how to freaking make friends. I didn't know how to kiss a boy. I didn't know how to talk to a boy. I didn't know how to go get a job. That was difficult. And then, I had to go into high school. So I went to another boarding school.
You did?
Yeah, but it was like a regular boarding school. I loved that boarding school. Christina Ruffalo, who was in my peer group, she was in a boarding school close to me. We kind of kept in touch.
Really?
I think she went to Connecticut or Massachusetts.
That's what that she did. Yeah, but I think it was like when I would have graduated, she would have already been gone anyway.
Yeah. So we stayed in touch like afterwards, only because we were kind of in like a similar area. And then even when, we both kind of were in California for a little bit at different times. But so, and I had still talked to people in my peer group, right? Because we had shared this crazy intimate experience of 2.5 years of being incredibly vulnerable around each other and knowing all of your deep dark secrets, and seeing you freaking snot on the floor and run up hills and do all kinds of crazy stuff. And I think for me, like I just kind of felt like those people were the only people that truly understood kind of like, I don't know where I was at. So I still stayed connected to them.
Right.
But going out into the real world, it was hard. Like I had to learn how to do stuff. I had to learn how to figure stuff out.
Yeah.
But I do think that the experience that I had did in some way shape me to, survive and to figure out how to get through hard times and manage my way through some of that stuff. And even into like adulthood, like the reprogramming in my brain, like I didn't think all of it was awful.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. And I think that's also why it can be confusing too.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that we were all in a program that was totally unregulated. And the professionals were not necessarily real doctors or psychiatrists. They weren't in the mental health practice. And what they were doing is they were coming up through the same program.
Right.
You know what I mean? And monkey see, monkey do. And it's just this like continuous cycle, like repeating itself. And then, some staff, had a different way of handling things. And some staff I thought were more intimidating than others. And whatever. I mean, that's life. Like you're going to run into people that are more intimidating.
But it's also like that was also their job.
Yeah. So I think it was totally unregulated. And, today CEDU, I do not think would ever exist today.
It does though.
I mean, the exact program does not, like, I don't think that that could exist today.
It does.
Well, I don't know anything about, I can't speak to that, but
yeah.
If the exact program were to exist, I would imagine that there would be some serious legal ramifications. And, you know, I don't know enough to really have an opinion about that or comment on it.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know any of the schools or programs that exist that are exactly like CEDU. But, you know, here we are.
yeah.
So, and look, I think there were people going to this school that were just not diagnosed properly.
Yeah.
And
like, do you remember Simon from the middle school? Do you remember Simon from middle school?
I think I do.
He was like the saddest case of anyone that was there. You would remember. He looked like he was 6 years old.
Yeah, that name sounds very familiar. I remember another girl there that I got close to.
These are all going to be, I'm going to edit. You can say freely because I'm going to edit stuff.
I don't remember her name, but I know she was like the sweetest little thing. She had like red hair.
Jody.
Was that her
Jody
name?
Silver. Was it Jody Silver?
She's so tiny.
Okay, but yeah.
I don't remember her name, but I do remember her. And yeah, I forget where I was going with this, but like I think there were just so many kids that were not diagnosed properly, and the psychiatrist there was a freaking joke, which I never saw, but I know other people saw there. And I think that you had people with some serious mental illness and undiagnosed issues coming through that weren't being treated properly. And you had all these parents or relatives that were feeling so desperate to save or rescue their children. You know, what else are you going to do when you come to a point where you're so desperate that you feel like you have no other option as a parent? And I get that as a parent, that when you feel that desperateness, you want to do whatever you think is right. So yeah, I think that like no one with anorexia should have been going to that school. And I remember there was a girl that was going to the school with us, okay, she was in Pam Bell's family.
I think I know who you're talking about.
And she was seriously anorexic, bulimic. You had to eat 3 freaking full meals a day.
And at Pam's family, you had to finish everything on your plate too. That was the whole thing.
I don't remember that, but I remember like this girl was throwing up in the freaking towels when she was washing the
Maria.
Like she should have never been there. That was like not the facility for her. And I think that she ended up leaving because they basically said like you need a different type of treatment.
Yeah,
they never should have gotten there in the first
place. Blamed her, like you should have been better because we could have taken care of you. It was like, yeah.
I don't know if that's a conversation that happened. I just remember looking back on that, you know, thinking, well, she should have never even been enrolled in that place, and you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, look, I don't regret going.
Yeah, no.
I don't think that it's screwed me up. I think it prepared me for so many things in my life. I think going to that school was like psychological warfare.
Yeah.
And, you know, it really prepared me.
Wow. Man, you're fucking lucky, man.
Yeah, I mean, awesome. Look, everybody has a different experience.
And that's
just because my experience doesn't line up with somebody who has PTSD from going there doesn't mean that my experience is not valid.
Yeah, no, and this is exactly why I wanted, like as soon as I found out that we had a somewhat different opinion, I was like, please, I really want to make sure that we get this, because that's why it's so important. Because it was so people had so many different experiences that it is important to know those like to know why, why that, like, why the experiences were so different, because our school wasn't flat out abuse. There was a lot of good stuff. Like I remember leaving and being able to talk my way around adults, like insanely well. Like
Yeah.
just getting sent to the principal's office because they didn't know what to say to me anymore because like I had talked my way out of crazy stuff. So like, yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like psychological warfare, man. I can be able to like peel back the layers and analyze because we had to do it every day.
Yeah. Like you could make somebody cry super fast.
I know.
Like,
I know.
and I'm
Um,
trying to think of like what professions those would be good things to those good tools to have. But
listen, in my business, you need like a psychology degree to deal
what do
with.
you do?
I do heating and air conditioning. Yeah, so I own a contracting business and I own an e-commerce store with my husband for heating and air conditioning equipment. Yeah, I mean, I have hard memories, have
Like
good
what I'm trying to like what were some of the like what were like the like some of like the really bad stuff like the and then like the really good stuff, you know what I mean, like
yeah.
the dichotomy of both.
So the really bad stuff I felt like number one, day one was horrible.
Yeah.
And I was lied to like most people were lied to. It was very traumatizing. I mean, I cried for an entire year because I wanted to go home and like I begged and pleaded. I didn't think I needed to be there because I thought I was around a bunch of crazy freaking people. Like
And I don't think you really needed to be there either though. Like you were one of those people that like you just kind of got fucked with the entire time because you had no reasons of being there too, didn't you?
yeah, I didn't do drugs. I wasn't promiscuous. I wasn't drinking. I just, I had freaking abandonment issues.
Yeah.
And, they were coming out in different ways, but nothing like, I just remember like sitting in these rooms being like, what the fuck?
Because it's just like you didn't have those problems. Like
Yeah.
Sandra Lindsay called me after I graduated and she's like, you know, all those things that I said about having eating disorders, it was all bullshit because I was there for nothing and I realized that I had to make something up. And so she listened to enough people talk about their eating disorders. And so when she confessed that she had this eating disorder, and that was the only reason she got by at CEDU at all.
Yeah, I mean, I never made anything up.
I didn't even.
And I think that's one of the things that I have some gratitude towards is like being able to be true to myself. And like, man, I got out of there. I didn't give a shit what anybody thought because I was yelled at so much to use my voice that it literally like brainwashed me to the point where I did not give a fuck what anybody thought. I got a little out of control in my early 20s. I mean, I still don't really care what people think.
Yeah.
I kind of march to the beat of my own tune. But I remember like I kind of took it to a different level and was trying to like figure myself out.
Right.
It never tried to kind of like roll you back from being out of control, right? So
Right.
like use your voice. They wanted you to literally annihilate people.
Right. There was no like
There was encouragement to do that.
There was no like with like, you know, do it softly so that people can hear you.
There was like adrenaline rush getting up, going 4 seats across from somebody, and then, leaning in and being like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that the facilitators in there were like,
yeah, no, because that's what you had to do. Yeah, like, so
yeah,
she's getting it right. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that was one of my takeaways. But yeah, like I don't know, like I was saying,
you don't think about it. You don't think about it that often. You're like I think you might be like one of the few people that like took it and like were like, okay, they gave me like, I think you were able to like use the good stuff.
Yeah, I think that there were a lot of valuable tools and
No, and
profits and the
Prophet, the book.
yeah, and the workshops that we did. But I will tell you this, when we did the summit and it was the final day of the summit. And I don't know if you remember the final day, but you in the final day, everybody, like the old alumni come back. Okay. And you're all standing around like in the circle.
Right.
And if you only went to CEDU for 6 months and you never got to do the summit, sorry, I'm spoiling things right now. So I remember thinking to myself, and I could not stop crying because I was like, holy shit, I made it through this fucking program. I am done. I am graduating. I am done. It was like such an emotional release for me. I don't remember what I was wearing. I remember where I was standing, and I just remember thinking like, oh my God, I'm done.
No,
I don't have to do any more of this.
For me, that moment was graduation day. I was walking into the house in the area where we put our jackets, and I was like, "It's the last day. It's it." I'm like, "I think I'm fucking out." I'm like, "Get down. They can't make me stay anymore." It was like my graduation day. I was like, "It's it. It's over." When it hit me, I was like, "Holy shit, I'm out."
Yeah.
But then after the summit, you still have what? It's like a couple months, but they're not.
Yeah, but it was it was like smooth sailing from there. I mean,
I don't even think they make you go to wraps after that, really.
Not really. I mean, you're pretty much like preparing for graduation. You're kind of like checking out. You're getting your ducks in a row because it's only like a couple months after that. And
yeah.
I remember graduation day.
Me too. I remember your graduation day.
I did not have much to say. Like, I remember my grandmother came up to me and she was like, "Oh, I thought you would have said a little bit more and thanked your grandfather." And I'm like now that I think about it, I'm like, why would I want to get up there and be like, "Thank you so much for sending me to hell and back," where I was living in anxiety for a good portion of my life. I did learn a lot of resourceful tools, made a lot of friends, but this was the hardest effing thing that I have.
Yeah, like that. It's still that for you, right? It's still like the hardest thing you'll ever have to have done, right?
It was definitely very hard. I find it interesting that you say that there's people that really don't comprehend what like your experience, like when you talk about it, because I've never had anybody give me that type of feeling or feedback.
Wow.
When I'm telling them about some of the stuff going on, like they comprehend what I'm saying. It's just like really intense. And so my husband, he's a Marine, and
well, that's a little different then he's been through some similar shit.
So both of us kind of have the feeling of what it's like to go through like a boot camp experience.
See, even you saying that, it's fucking valuable. You know what I mean? Because so what the thing is that my dad, I don't know if you remember, he teaches people not to be afraid of flying.
Yeah.
He was a pilot, and then he had to retire pretty much the year I got out of CEDU, and then he really picked up on it was like a side hustle that he developed this system of teaching people not to be afraid of flying, but he only broke even because he advertised it like crazy so that enough people could use it, because he didn't really care about the money for it. But after CEDU, he had to retire from being a pilot, and he really picked up on it. But like, I just had like cancer, and I had a hysterectomy, and I was in the hospital, and I told my doctors, I was like, "Listen, you cannot keep me here. If I feel like I'm being kept here, I will beat all of you and break bones until I am out, because since CEDU, like if I'm somewhere where I feel like I can't leave, I bug out." I told many doctors at multiple times over the month, and after I was kept there for a couple days, and I see somebody from my oncologist like right next to me, and I was like, "I fucking told you this was gonna happen." And it was because my dad had me held longer, and I was like, "Dad,
what do you
how
mean
many times have I told you?"
longer?
Because he just freaked out, and like our neighbor is the fucking is the head of fucking gynecology at Yale and New Haven, so like he got it.
You're talking at the hospital.
Yeah, my dad had some shit finagled, so I was kept longer than what my plan was with my doctors. And so I was like, "Dad, this is because you don't understand what happened to me at CEDU. Like, you can't do shit like this to me because you know what I mean? And like, it's like, I keep on trying to tell him that like, it wasn't a great place and that it definitely hurt me. And he doesn't believe me at all. And so, yeah, it's like, it's to the point where it's like, it's still a huge issue, but like, it's like the only thing we fight about.
What
Like,
does he believe?
he just doesn't think that there could have been anything bad about a therapeutic system, and that it was the best for the time, and that, like, you know, that there was no abuses that took place, and that anybody that says that is just a fucked up kid. So yeah, I mean, like, yeah, he just doesn't, you know, he just doesn't believe, or like, yeah, he just doesn't, I mean, yeah, he just doesn't, like, I'm like, it was a cult, like, in the way that, like, we policed ourselves, they taught us to not think about stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, I remember, like, especially with me and Jackson, do you know how many times, like it would be like, I would be like, just even talking about being upset about not being able to talk to Jackson, and like Catherine would be like, you can't even talk about this. Like, you can't, like that's part of the breaking bands. You're never going to be able to talk to him again as long as you keep talking and thinking about him. So like, when me and Jackson finally got together, like, it took so much for me to break that. So of like, oh, a relationship is just bullshit. Like, we have something stronger than a relationship. We have a friendship, and it's so much better than a stupid relationship. And for him to be like, Bunt, that's just you, like, it's not, like, it's stupid. You know what I mean? Like, like, the first time he actually like kissed me, like, it was so weird. Like, because, you know what I mean? Like, you're fucking Jackson in the woods. I've heard that. I heard that so many times. To the end, to a point, it's still upsetting to me. But it was like, it was so not true. Like, it was like, he was the only person that I remember after my mom died. Like, he came up to me, he's like, you know, like, I'm so sorry that your mom died. Nobody knew what to say to me about that. But he was like, you know, he was so fucking funny.
I know. I
Like,
know.
he was so, so fucking funny. Like, that, like, we would talk and it was like, oh my God, the funniest person at the school likes me. You know what I mean? It was never like, so when everyone was like, you know, accusing me, it's like, why would you say that? You know what I mean? It's like, that's my, you know, that's my friend. Like, he would never even, you know. So it took forever for us to even like get, you know, to the point where we could have like some sort of relationship. And it was further complicated because of his, you know, I'm a rock star's son, therefore I can do whatever I want with whoever I want. And bad night to be like, okay, no, you can't do that. But I made him pay and it changed him, so that was good. But so yeah, I can probably even leave that in and he'll think it's funny. But yeah, so like, we've gone through a lot of crazy stuff just because that's school. But it's like, I'm even mad that like you and him don't talk because of, you know, political stuff. Because I mean, I don't even know what it is, but it's like, you guys went through fucking, like, and plus your peer group was different than the other ones. I don't know if you know that. But it's like, you know, I mean, I only saw the older peer groups that I saw was like Amanda Turchin and John Davidson peer group. And that to me was like, they were super powerful, amazing people, but I only knew them for 2 months because I got there in April before they graduated. But then the peer group after that was like, was like Ron Denver
Yeah.
and like Talia. And that was not a, you know, that was an all right. I didn't think that was a super, but then your peer group, there was not a weak person in that entire peer group. Like, your whole peer group was powerhouses. And it's going to be so weird to try to explain these terms to other people. But it was like, oh my God, everybody in your peer group was like, you know, like, got, like, you guys like had made, you know, done amazing in the program. And like, you were so much to like aspire to and look up to as like humans and stuff like that. But like, all of you were so fucking funny and like so charismatic and stuff like that. And then, you know, the next peer group was like, no, we didn't like do so well, but your peer group was like, it was like, wow, you know, it was like, you know, it was something, you know, like the school should have just made a fucking commercial of just like your graduation. Like, it's like, all of you were so good.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't really talk to anyone anymore, like, you know, pick up the phone and talk. Dylan and I used to talk a lot. And then, you know, you just go different ways and you know, whatever. If Jackson doesn't want to like me or be friends with me because he doesn't like my opinion, okay. And it's not like we ever talked about it. It was just, he just kind of like defriended, which is just very, very, very silly. We all have to be able to agree to disagree, even about the CEDU experience. And, I don't really know what the solution is for the people that went through the program that either still feel hurt, are traumatized, feel damaged, can't let go, whatever it is that is still burdening that person. Like, I don't know what the answer is, because I think for everybody it's going to be different.
Yeah.
Maybe some people need to forgive, and with forgiveness, maybe they can let go. And we're not who we were when we were teenagers. We have the free will and the choice to be something different.
Right.
Who we were then doesn't define who we need to be today. And, I think that, hopefully through this experience that you're having with interviewing people, hopefully you'll have some healing. And, with your dad, I guess I had to do the same thing with my dad, but not for the same reasons that you are experiencing with yours. And my mom told me this once, and it really resonated with me. She was like, "Stop going to a dried up well for water." And I'm like, yeah, I guess you're right. Like, if I could just let go of having this expectation that my dad is going to be able to give me what I need emotionally,
Yeah.
or make it okay, or whatever it is in that moment that I am asking for my dad.
Yeah.
Like, if I can just let go of recognizing that this man is like going to a dried up well for water,
Yeah.
it might actually help me release. And I was able to do that. And I was able to stop going to my dad as a
Right.
resource to get that emotional piece needed, because recognize he's just not capable.
Yeah. And I think that that's it. That is where he is too. But I mean, I don't think he's ever going to accept that but but like, there's just like there's so many of us that just don't like there's a girl that I've noticed that had like, she had a TikTok about seed and was put into like she made it into a YouTube. And like even the fact that like she's like, so I don't have post-traumatic stress disorder, I have complex post-traumatic stress disorder, and I was like, oh shit, I know I have that too. And she's like, it's something because of the amount of time that we were there for, that like she's like, I'm always asleep and I'm going through the program, I'm going again, but I'm at the age I'm at now. And then like, oh my god, you described all of the dreams I've had for the last 20 years. And I'm like, just because somebody else said that it was real, it makes me feel better. You know what I mean? And like, it's I know
Yeah,
that
you
like
feel validated.
yeah, and I know these are like new stupid terms that the new generations have given us, but it's fuck, you know what I mean? And but like, but like it's a representation and seeing but like. It was just really weird. It's like to do this kid's freaking podcast, and it's like there's so many, like there's so many fucking schools, and like
I'm not going to
regulations.
say that I don't agree with some of these schools, because I do agree there are people out there that could benefit from these programs.
But like, if you had a choice, what you like? You imagine like being,
What do you
like
mean?
being 22 and choosing to do something like that would be totally different.
Sure. But,
Yeah,
as a teenager, like, our brains aren't even developed. This is why our parents are in charge. And, I think that there are some kids that do need a special type of structure.
yeah, yeah,
And it's about finding the right place. And I'm not saying that every place out there on the market that does this stuff is the right place.
yeah,
My kid to freaking CEDU? No, no,
yeah,
but would I send them if I was desperate and wanted to get help for my kid? yeah, I would go through a process of trying to find the right fit.
Yeah. No, I can, yeah, and I can understand that too. Yeah.
So, look, I had to send my son to military school.
You did.
Yeah, his freshman
That's
year,
also
and he
your,
agreed to go.
oh,
And I'm gonna tell you, it was reminiscent of CEDU for me because I couldn't see him. I couldn't talk to him on the phone. Felt those I felt like everything was flipped
yeah.
as the parent.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, I made this choice. My son agreed to go. And like it was so hard and reminiscent of like the CEDU experience, but from like a totally flip where I couldn't see him for months. I couldn't talk to him. I could only write letters back and forth. And he told me it was a really hard experience, and it was super hard for me. And then, my grandfather got sick, got dementia, had to be put in a facility. So I remember going to visit him. He couldn't leave the place, and he was crying when I was leaving. And I'm like, God, have the tables have turned?
Fuck.
Like here I am telling you, no, you can't come with me, watching you cry as I leave. It's like, this is freaking horrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to think about like how hysterical I was on the phone when they would leave, pleading and begging, don't leave me here.
Yeah.
You know? So there were a couple times that I kind of like felt like roles have been reversed, and brought some of those feelings, like unpleasant feelings, back.
Yeah.
Um, but look, there were some really fun times. Like, I remember Adam Egett and I had to do a freaking project, and that guy had me laughing so hard during this project, like in stitches. We had
But
to
it was
build some freaking bench on the Profit Trail. He got so frustrated that he took this freaking bench and tossed it off the backside of the mountain. It was just us two, like up there doing this freaking project, and it took us a minute to get through it, but we finally like accomplished it. And I remember just kind of like sitting up there with him on the bench, and that was a good time. When everybody went to Italy, and
oh,
the little
what was
peons
that
got
fucking
stuff back.
song? Just came back and you were like, "Hey, Jose, hey, Jose," and you would sing.
I didn't go.
Oh,
I didn't go. I stayed back, and I think it who was I think it was like Chris Webber.
Chris Webb.
Um,
That he didn't get to
I
go
think
either.
Adam stayed back. I think Dylan stayed back.
Was that money? Was that why?
I don't think it was money,
I
because
think it was
I know
just like
my
whoever got to
grandparents.
choose.
I think my grandparents definitely could have sent me, but they picked and chose those people
It was
for a
like
reason, and I was like not a part of that group. But
it was like it was like an extra special.
yeah, so but you know what? We had a freaking blast. We got to go to like see Braveheart. Dennis took us to go see a movie. Um, we got to like do some other stuff so that we didn't kind of feel like so left.
Yeah.
And there were things like that I like, that made me feel good, having like those little moments,
Yeah.
where you didn't kind of feel like so oppressed by the situation.
Yeah.
Um,
I think that the friendships that we had were like at a super deep
yeah,
level too, that like other people would like will never, most people maybe have like one, friend that like we
oh
had
yeah,
hundreds of.
for real. I mean, I think that I learned what a true friendship is. Um, I was able to like unpack a lot of things that I didn't really recognize about myself and what my own woundedness and brokenness was. And I don't know if I would have been able to get there without that kind of like deep therapy that we were going through. I think John Liederbach Vega, he was one of the good guys.
I'm getting him. He's the first step that said he would do it.
Yeah, and he's still a good guy. You know, I'm friends with him on Facebook. Like
he's the reason why I
remember having good talks with him. You know, Dennis Dockstetter,
obviously,
and you know, he was a good guy. And then you had, you know, the people that I think probably got off on their power. And, you know, whatever. I mean, that was how they chose to show up. Okay. Donna Dillman, she was really close with our peer group.
What was the story of her? Like wasn't like her husband died or something?
No,
what was that story?
Steve
Unch.
Steve Unch. So they were dating, and he was climbing K2.
That's what it was.
Yeah, and what happened, she was out in the wilderness doing, I think, either Wilderness Quest or Wilderness Challenge, and they couldn't get in touch with her. So I think Bill Valentine and somebody else had to hike out there to tell her what happened. And he died trying to save somebody.
Right. Yeah. Oh, God. That was what it was. Yeah, it was super crazy sad. Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, that happened while we were there.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, we were all trying to support him. He had like stationery that he had made. We had bought the stationery to help support his trip. He had like come in and done like a slideshow for us.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me that so they found Donna when you guys were on your wilderness challenge?
No, we were at CEDU. Donna was in the wilderness in Joshua.
Oh, okay.
They had to go out there because they couldn't get in touch with her.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So they had to go out there, tell her, and I think another facilitator had to stay because she obviously wasn't gonna stay out there. I don't know what group she was with.
Wow.
Yeah, but I remember that. I thought she was pretty inspirational.
Yeah. I mean, there were a lot of really great people that were, that worked there too. Like, do you remember Elizabeth?
Yeah.
You know, like she was awesome, and like I thought Joel was fucking super nice too. But I also even remember, like, I think he ran my children's Prophet Joel.
Really?
Yeah. And like I think that he also ran part of my summit. Like I remember him being the judge of the cookies. So I was like he was definitely, but I'm like, but he was never, because it's the whole thing, it's also been like interesting to see like who has bad memories of people. I have not a single bad memory of Guy Bonanno.
Me neither. But
I know that a lot of people, like, that's like their biggest issue was how he treated them. But like
Guy was a teddy bear.
That's what I thought too.
Who basically like would call you out on your shit. I mean,
that's what I thought too. It's gonna be interesting to tell you. Like he recently friended me on Facebook after I talked to Jamie Donahoe. So I even said to Jamie, like, I have nothing bad to say about Guy Bonanno, and I know people that do, and he friended me, so I'm hoping maybe I can get an interview with him. But yeah, like I even remember after there was something in either the summit or in the IME where we died or something, and we were being walked back into upstairs that building, and Guy Bonanno kissed me on the forehead, and I thought that how sweet that was. Like it was so not. I was like, nobody's kissed my face in forever. Like that was so sweet of that old man to kiss me on the head.
Yeah, I didn't have that experience with him either.
Yeah.
You know, I know why a lot of people have feelings like they do around Rudy.
Yeah, I missed him. He was honestly out when I got there.
Yeah, and I think you know, he's still a little crotchety.
Yeah. Rudy's still out there talking to people?
Rudy was friends with me on Facebook. I haven't seen him come up in a while. But he would just come up, like he made one comment on something that was so like that I posted that was really outlandish. And there was actually another person from CEDU that I'm friends with that made a comment like, you know, kind of calling him out on his show, which, you know, doesn't, I just think it's funny. But I can understand why some people kind of felt like that with him, and, you know, with Pam, and that there was a level of intensity and anxiety. And look, you know, we don't know, and we're 16. If I was in a situation like that now, it'd be totally different.
Right. Yeah.
So we're young, we're vulnerable, we don't know any better. We're abandoned by our parents, left in the, you know, asylum with maybe some of the crazies running it, and this is what you get. So
yeah.
I did find it a little odd looking back that, like, our dorms were never locked.
Yeah. That's an interesting thing. Yeah.
And, you know, I never really thought anything of it until I was getting ready to leave the program. And you were not in my dorm at this point. I was in a different dorm. And I think I was in the dorm with, like, Maris and, is it Elena Gardner?
Oh, yeah.
And Elena would walk in her sleep. Yeah, she would walk in her sleep. And anyway, so one of my shoes went missing. And, you know, our shoes had to be like, yeah. So you notice when one of your shoes is missing. Couldn't find it. Months go by. Somebody walks into the house and they have a shoe, and they were like, we were out in the woods. I don't know what they were doing, maybe like cutting a tree down or something. And we found this shoe. It was my freaking shoe. And the shoe had the strap cut off of it, like a perfect cut. And I'm like, somebody came in my dorm when we weren't there, grabbed my shoe and cut the strap and took it out in the woods. I was like, that is so beyond bizarre.
Do you still not know what happened?
No, I have no idea what happened, but it
That's
really
so weird.
creeped me out, thinking, like, you know, we got an overweight security guard that's eating donuts in the admin.
Right. But we never really met, or like, we didn't know. Yeah. Did you hear about the James Cromwell story about that the serial killer that worked?
Well, I've read a little bit. So I was there when, is it John Inman? Is that his last name?
That sounds really familiar.
He ran away. He was in the peer group above me.
Was he the one that who would stitch $100 bills under his like Levi's?
This is
leather?
Before you got there. This is when I was new, and he had seizures. I think he had a seizure problem, and the child's prop feet was going on, and I don't know what I was doing up at my dorm, but I was just like newly there a couple of months, and I was walking back from my dorm, and I was like, hey, John, I didn't know you weren't supposed to talk to people when they were in the prop feet.
Shit, right.
He was like, hey, well, he wasn't supposed to be, like, he was like splitting.
Right.
I didn't realize, like, when I walked by him, that that's what was going on, because, you know, the child's prop feet, like, you're not leaving the room for any reason. You sleep in there for 4 hours or whatever. And he ran away. They never found him.
Holy fuck, so you were the last person to talk to that guy?
I don't know if I was, but I remember seeing him, and I remember he was in like a gray sweatsuit.
Wow.
He was heading to the boys' dorms, probably to get his shit and leave. But I remember when he left, they never found him. I don't know whatever happened to him, but I did read about, like, the psychiatrist, and I guess, I don't know who the other person was.
So that other person, they let him do a couple of sessions at CEDU, like as like a trial,
like a psychiatrist.
Yes, right. So one day, Pam Mabel says to me, there's a new psychiatrist. Would you mind having a session with him? And I say, sure. So I go to there's because I wasn't medicated or anything. I definitely should have been, but I wasn't. But there was, like I could definitely tell, like this was a weird thing that they were just trying, kind of a thing. Like this wasn't needed for me personally. It was just like she was like, go see this person. So it was in an office that was in, remember where like the dance studio was that
Yeah.
So remember that, and then there's the admin building, but there in between there was offices, like a couple. I don't remember. I can't visually remember, but I know that there was. And Jamie remembers them because when I said Jamie, he's like, I know what you're talking about. I had to go in there, so I see this guy with his mustache, and I'm starting to talk to him, and he's at this desk, and he puts his head like this on the desk and continues to listen to me talk. I am like, I'm the fuck out of here. There's no way I'm saying that. It was so creepy that I was like, okay. I immediately just walked out, walked back up the graduation stairs and into the house, found Pam, told her exactly what happened, and she was like, okay, I understand that. And when I tell people that, I'm like, you don't understand how weird, I must have felt so unsafe, because for me to just leave a situation like that when you're just do what all the staff tell you, because it was new staff, I knew but it was like, I was like, no, I am out of here. Like that was so weird. But it's definitely the guy it was James Cromwell. It was like that guy that was like a serial killer.
What was he doing? He was
like, they don't know. They think that like he might have been had a part of like.
Did he get locked up or did he die?
Oh yeah, he's locked up now. Yeah, he's definitely locked up now.
So what did he do? He abducted
just kids, but they like, I don't know if they were finding out, but like they think that like he's part of like some of the missing kids from CEDU though. I don't think it could be from that early, because it wasn't that early, but there was another kid that was there around the time that was missing, but was like right when I got there. So I don't really know if he really abducted other kids, but it's just creepy to know that I definitely talked to a killer or like had maybe session with a.
And should we be surprised? Because
No, but that's the whole thing. It's like, well, yeah, because that's how easy it was to work at CEDU. Was that like, I mean,
right. Yeah, they weren't doing background checks back then.
No, you just have to go through the program. Something Jamie said to me was that he figured out that he couldn't tell all his disclosures pretty fast. As an adult, that was like, no, there's some you're supposed to leave out. Like if you're an adult telling kids, like, don't tell them certain things. He wouldn't tell me what they were, but I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, interesting. I had read about that, and it would make sense. It would make sense that something like that was going on. I mean, there really wasn't a whole lot of safety. I mean, no cameras. There was an open gate. You could access from the street. You could access from the woods. You could access from behind the dorms. And every one of us slept with the door open.
I know, yeah, and that is, it's totally
like, it wasn't locked.
But that was the whole thing of like, you can leave whenever you want. You know what I mean? Like, that's like, but it's like, you're at the top of a mountain. You can't call anybody. You know what I mean? Like, the closest phone is miles away. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it was definitely creepy. I mean, so we moved around a lot for our older student dorm. They had us where like the middle schoolers were staying, up on that little barn right very close to where the pool was.
Right.
They had us on the second floor there, and then they had us all move out of there, and we had to move into the lower area, like where the septic tank was, like that's connected to the house, like where you walk down the stairs to go to those dorms.
Was it called Camelot at one point or something? Or like,
I'm not sure.
But it's like, it was like near the graduation stage, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I lived down there afterwards, I think.
Yeah.
I think immediately after you left, that was my dorm. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah, I remember. Yeah, it was. Yeah,
Oh, that's crazy.
yeah. That's funny. Yeah, 'cause you were my dorm. You were my dorm head when I got there, right? I think. Yeah.
No, Jeannie was.
I cannot. I told Jeannie Moore. I can't believe I forgot that name. Wow.
Yeah, Jeannie was the dorm head.
Because yeah, because it was like because you guys had all gotten out of agreement by talking about what boys you liked at Wilderness. So it was like
Well,
they did, but they didn't want me to know about it because they didn't, you know what I mean? Because the whole like, the older students run the little kids. So it was like I wasn't
yeah,
allowed to know right away that you guys could be at fault. So
yeah,
like I remember like, yeah,
that
it
was
was like,
that was a big deal for no reason. The peer group
oh,
above us,
they you all new assholes for just barely mentioning who maybe you could have had crushes on, possibly. Like,
yeah, called our code was shoe. I remember we were on finals sitting out in the freaking desert, all the girls. There weren't that many of us. I think it was like Catherine, Susan, me, Tina, Emily. I think that was it. And
Juliet wasn't in your she wasn't in yours, but
no,
she
she
was
was in the
above.
one above me.
Yeah, yeah.
And for some reason, we all, we're girls doing normal girl stuff. And somehow we got on to like crushes, and we knew we weren't allowed to like say anything. So we were like, let's call him Shoe.
Right, right.
I mean, dude, we thought it was so harmless. And then it got brought up in a freaking rap. And I was in the rap, and I think I was with Susan in the rap. And they unloaded on us. Unloaded.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking, like, this is insane. I think I was like on a full time.
I remember like no, I think you were on a full time.
Yeah. I think I was on a full time for that.
No, I think that Catherine was the least in trouble. I thought that I was remembering that you were the least in trouble, but now that I'm thinking about it, I think that Catherine was the least in trouble.
Yeah, like they called Susan the ringleader.
Wow.
Yeah, that was gnarly. And I think I remember Donna Dillman like thinking like this really isn't a big deal. Like, why are we making this a big deal?
Really?
Yeah, but I think that she kind of had to like go along with it.
Of course she did. Of course she did. Yeah.
But man, they crucified us.
Do you know about what my peer group did?
No.
So our older student dorms was Hilltop.
Oh, okay.
Because Hilltop was gone. So they just gave us Hilltop, which was awesome because we had our own fucking house. So it was like my Hilltops was me, Allie Karn, Leanne Bankin, but then we also had like Michelle Van Driel, because she was 18, but she was in the peer group below, and it's also Amy something. She was from Texas. There's a girl named I forget her last name. Who was also in the peer group below, but she was above 18. And then Tina Johannesson, Robin Williams, Melissa Gutierrez, and Jackie Mandel. I think that's everybody. And then they gave us their older student dorm, didn't give us any privileges. Like we didn't have any dating privileges, couldn't listen to more music, or like we could only listen to selected CDs that were approved, and some of them wouldn't get approved. That we were getting nothing. We got like no extra, like no privileges, like extra. So we were like, fuck this. We had like 2 months left. Tina Johannesson was like somebody brought her off campus to buy her graduation dress. She's found a way to buy a carton of Marb Red Medium 100s. And so she hid them. We hid them all over our older student dorm. And at night we were just smoking cigarettes and making out with each other and like giving each other head and like just doing crazy stuff. And like they're like, because we just didn't care anymore, because we were just like they didn't give us anything, and like it was like what we had done nothing wrong. So we were like, why? Like, what did we do? You know what I mean? And so there was a girl that you definitely didn't know her. There was a girl that got her right after you left. Her name was Alana, and she was like a gang member from Chicago. Like
Oh,
she had definitely done drive-bys and stuff, and like her church
wow.
had sent her there. And she had become really close with Tino Johannesson. And we were like in about to rap, or a rap, something was about to start. We were all just sitting around, and she went up to a whiteboard and just wrote, "Summit is dirty," and walked away. And we all were looking at each other like, fuck. And our body language said it all. We were like, oh, yeah, we were totally caught immediately. I still don't know how she knew that we were like, but like, it would like, it all got like confessed to. And like, I had like Pam, like,
You guys copped out
we
to
had
all
to,
of
like,
that?
we pretty much had to, yeah. Because one person did, and then like, because at that point you just had to. So like, yeah, I was like, yeah, I sucked Dave Bozart's dick and he ate me out. Like, I had to say that. Like, it was like we were all just like experimenting. We never did, like, I've never given head. And we were just like, like we didn't, had our older student dorms, and like there was no staff room. We just stay up all night and do whatever the fuck we wanted, because but like, we had a couple, like, what are they going to do? And they still let us graduate. We didn't have a legacy night. We didn't have give our legacies out. And we were like Danielle, do you remember Danielle Hadeen? I don't know if you remember. Yeah, she
Mm,
might have been like Discovery when you left, but like I remember like just people being like, I can't believe that they're even letting you graduate. You should have to drop a peer group. I mean, like, you're a disgrace. Like, I mean, like, and like they let us, yeah, Pam, like, brought me into, an admin building, and she's like, I don't, it doesn't matter what you did, whatever, like, like, I'm sure it felt really good. Like, I mean, actually, I don't think they really made us, like, I don't know if they really made us like say specifically what we did. Like, I was like, yeah, I messed around with Dave Bozarth, whatever. It's like, it wasn't like I had a crush on him. I just wanted to like do stuff and like rebel, because we were like, supposed to
yeah.
like get stuff. And she's like, oh, I'm sure it felt really good and like whatever. I was like, no, it didn't feel good. It was just whatever. It's not like, whatever. We're kids. And she's like, but I had to tell my dad. She's like, you have to call your dad and tell him what you did. So like, she's like, so
What?
I was like, yeah, dad, I broke some rules, whatever. Like, I'll see you in 2 months, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? But it's like, they like, yeah, I don't know. It was like, yeah, but we all had to like call our parents and let our parents know that we were like, we might be graduating, but we had just really fucked up. But they were still gonna let us graduate, because they were just like, whatever. So then I went back and visited multiple times, like 3 times at least. Once for like a week with Jackie Mandel for the summit, and for Jillian's summit, or no, it might have been Cody Walker's. No, I think it was the peer group below her. Yeah, and I was Paris Hilton's big sister for a week.
Huh?
Dennis is driving me and Jackie up the mountain. She's like, there's this new girl here, and all the staff says that she reminds everybody of you. She's really skinny blonde girl. She won't talk to anybody. She's refusing everything, and everyone's like, yeah, it's just like Hikari was. Will you be her big sister? Well, while the week you're visiting. I was like, yeah, sure. It's fucking Paris Hilton. So like a
How'd
couple
that
years,
go?
I wish I could remember so much more, but she was just like, like, I mean, she like, well, like a normal person is like, what, like, and I was just trying to be like, it's not that bad, but she would talk to me because like I had makeup on, you know what I mean? Like, and like, she's like, how do you live without eyeliner? I had her tell me her life story twice. Yeah, because the first time it was like 6 minutes long. It has to be like an hour, you try to get like an
Yeah,
hour long.
yeah.
But she didn't, like, basically she like would leave her house at 3 o'clock in the morning and then go dance on tables until like 7 in the morning. And that was like most of her life at that age. but she
No wonder they sent her there.
but she was badass. She broke into the admin building and called a fucking limo.
Shut up.
Yes, that's how she got out. Like, she was only there for like 2 months. And she split by limo. But Jamie said something funny about her. Jamie said that there was one time where, when she was doing Discovery work cruise, that he handed her a rake, and she said, dead serious, it wasn't a joke, what's that? She had never seen a rake before. She didn't know what it was.
Why?
But like Jamie's impression of her was so dead on. Like, oh fuck, it was it's really good.
First world problems.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, that would. But yeah, like she's doing a lot for like like she was sent to Provo though. After I don't know if I'm sure.
I
Are you
remember
following
hearing
what Paris
about
Hilton is
Provo.
doing for the troubled teen industry, Heather Daimion? No.
Yeah, I've seen her talk about it. I mean,
She had it different though.
Yeah, I mean, look, here's my issue with that. Like, you experience like 2 minutes of a program that all of us earned our freaking stripes.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
like, I appreciate what you're doing, but you can't even speak to the level of experience that we all went through from for 2.5 years, for some people longer than that. And that's why, like, it is here. I will tell you something that I do take issue. The people that didn't complete the program, that were there for like a couple months or maybe like 6 months,
And write a book about it?
yeah, want to freaking cry about it and write a book about their experience. And I'm just like, dude, you have no idea. You have freaking no idea
Yeah.
what it was like.
Yeah.
None. 6 months is nothing. Like, we all did our time.
The only thing is, and you're talking about, I know there's that one, I have the book, I still haven't read
Yeah,
it.
I know, I know
book.
what you're talking about. And, hey man, more power to you. But how can you really write a book about that when you didn't even go through the whole entire thing?
The only thing that I think that it's important only because I haven't read it, but I mean, I haven't been able to read it, but I think maybe the only reason that could have been written was because he was only there for a short amount of time.
Maybe.
Do you know what I mean? Like, because he remembered stuff that, like, do you remember, like, there was like a girl with the pearl earring? Remember, that painting? Like, that was like on one of the walls, and even I didn't even remember that on the walls there was lights above all these paintings on one of the walls, and like the way he described stuff, like I totally didn't remember any of that. It was just like in the, like I know, like I do find it annoying that like people are getting recognition for being there for such small amount of times and complaining about it. But also, like, I think that because what they saw was so extreme in this short amount of time, and they could explain it really well because it was so little.
Maybe.
But I 100% agree with you. But that's my only, like, I kind of get it a little just for that reason, like.
Yeah. It was, I mean, I still have my scrapbook.
I do too.
It's that is hard for me to go through. I have all the letters that everybody wrote to me. I have all the pages. Like, it definitely takes me back. And there is a piece of me that doesn't necessarily like going back there, but there's other things that give me, some fond memories of, being able to laugh in horrible situations. When you tell somebody I was out in the wilderness for 14 days and did a solo by myself for 4 days when I was 16, people look at you like, what the fuck? And you know what? For us, going through that, like, you just did it.
Yeah.
Like,
that was actually fun. That part was like, oh, okay. That wasn't even like the bad part.
Like, you prepared for it, you expected it, you were out for it. I don't know, just a different perspective. So, yeah, I remember my freaking sleeping bag broke on night 1.
No.
Yeah, the zipper broke, and I was like, oh shit. I was terrified, like a scorpion or a snake.
Fucking tarantula.
Come and like sneak underneath those. I was so paranoid.
So what did you do?
I took the zipper and I slept with it underneath me.
Yeah.
Nothing could like creep in, and I like stuffed all my clothes at the very bottom of my bag. So, yeah. Peed all around my area, marking my territory.
Yeah, I was always scared that like, there's
Coyotes.
tarantulas out there and I have huge arachnophobia and they're like, just don't look for them. If you don't look for them, you won't see them. And I never saw one.
I
So,
never saw one either. I saw a rattlesnake, heard coyotes. Um, I just recently went to Israel about a month ago,
oh,
and
wow.
yeah, we were out in the desert, and um, it like it was a good feeling.
Oh,
I
wow.
liked being out in the desert. Like I loved Joshua Tree. I had some really good experiences out there with my peer groups. Um, so there was something nostalgic about it. Uh, I didn't think that any of those trips were necessarily traumatizing.
I agree. I highly agree. Yeah. Yeah.
I,
Yeah,
dude,
definitely.
I just remember something. I gave you my shirt, my Sea-Doo Wilderness shirt. It was the shirt that I wore on Wilderness Quest, my repeat Wilderness Quest, and every wilderness trip I did. It
It
was
was like
torn
white,
up.
right?
It was gray. It was torn up. I remember they tore your ass up about that. That you were walking around in a holy shirt. I like handed
Oh,
that down to you. Do you remember that?
I do. And I had to get rid of it. I think I had to throw it away.
They yelled at you for that.
Yeah, and I was like, "What do you mean? I'm just wearing a shirt that my friend gave me." Yeah, and they're like, "You can't wear that." It was like,
Yeah,
I think it's like
I
imagery
handed
or
it down to you.
yeah, yeah. And that's like that was the legacy. Yeah,
Yeah, I remember that you got your ass reamed because you were
yeah.
walking around in a holy shirt.
Wow, I don't remember. I mean, like vaguely, like I remember, like it was somebody, like it happened to somebody else. I actually found my Summer Olympics T-shirt
Yeah.
from so '96. So I think it was right after. It must have been right after you left, unless it was unless it was '95. It might have been '95. You were there because I remember that. Who was the girl Danielle that graduated? That she
Curly
had to
hair.
stay later to finish school.
I don't remember. There's only one Danielle I remember there. She had really curly hair like mine.
Yes, her. Yeah,
Okay.
she had to stay a couple months later to finish college, and I remember that she had done something in the Summer Olympics. She could actually do a whole
Pull
pull
up.
up. So yeah, so then it was so yeah, so you were for that there for that then I think. The T-shirt that I have, yeah, it's funny. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I forgot about that
They
T-shirt
made you throw it away.
because that was the whole thing too. It was like you couldn't give things to people though too. So I don't even know how you were able to give me that.
I
Remember, you
remember
weren't
not
allowed to like
being able
share
to give people
clothes.
things.
You
Really?
were Maybe you were like, or maybe you were allowed to give, huh? Were you allowed to give people stuff?
Yeah, pretty sure.
But like you couldn't share it, right? Or like,
Yeah,
you
sharing stuff was you had to get permission, but I do remember the t-shirt.
that's so funny. I think I remember being, yeah, being yelled at part. Yeah, that is funny. Like,
Ridiculously
I
stupid.
wish I had that still. Yeah, the whole like, the yelling at people, the having to figure out stuff to yell at people so that you wouldn't get yelled at.
Yeah.
Like how many times that I'd have people yell at me like, "We only know about you is that your mom died." That I was like, really? It's like you couldn't have picked something else, like, or that like, it was like I got there was like I was a virgin. I'd smoked pot a couple times. I was just like hard to deal with. My dad like talked to an education consultant and was like, "Oh,
Right.
you should send her here,"
Yeah, same here. Same here.
Um, so yeah, like nobody believed that I was a virgin and that I'd smoked pot a handful of times. You know what I mean? It was like, but then because I could cry for forever about my mom dying and like, but we had a horrible relationship, so it just really made it confusing.
Right.
It wasn't like, oh, I miss my mother. It was like, oh, this is really fucked up and I don't know how to handle it because she beat
Yeah.
me my whole life.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, do you have any other questions for me?
Yeah. So yeah, can you remember like I remember there was one time that we were allowed to go to a staff member to help them clean and move, and it was like a privilege. Or like, do you remember like you'd have to like they'd be like, oh, we need some volunteers. You'd be like, I volunteer, and like you'd have to clean something that like one time out of 10 it'd be like, oh, okay, all of you are going to the movies. Or like, do you remember any of the like times that you had to volunteer?
I don't remember volunteering. I remember going to like Martin's house. I remember going to Donna Dillman's house. Um, During December, they had like 2 weeks. I forget what it was called, but like we weren't doing school and they had like crafts and different things that like families would do. So I know we went to the movies. Um, and I don't remember having to like volunteer for stuff.
Oh, okay.
That I don't remember. But I do remember going over to like some of their houses
Yeah. Yeah.
as like group trips.
Yeah, no, I guess that's like that's all I really wanted to. Yeah, I just wanted to like hear like, your experience of it. Um no, it just seems like you like took it as like super like positive and like has you've used it, like which is, like it's amazing, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's like awesome that you were able to do that. Um yeah. I wish that like I wish you and Jackson could talk. I think it's very sad. But
It's
like
okay. Maybe one day.
I
It's
know.
I
Like
don't really think about it that often. I doubt he does. I still have a fond place in my heart for all of my peer group.
yeah. Oh
And
my God, how crazy is it? How freaking famous Adam
yeah, Adam. Not surprised.
It's
I
it's
still
it's so
remember him. Look, I still remember him as the Adam that I had a bunch of fun with at CEDU. And, I'm glad that he's having so much success. And I hung out with him and I hung out with Jackson, both of them like after CEDU. And,
yeah, yeah,
everybody had to find their way. We were
yeah,
all trying to figure it out, like going back into the world where nobody knew like what you had just experienced. And
yeah,
that was hard. Like I explained in the beginning, I don't think they set us up for success doing that. I don't think they really had a good program for releasing us back into like the real world. They could have had some improvements on that and not kept us so isolated. Like the
yeah,
last 2 months of CEDU should have been basically keeping us less isolated and having us go out into like the real world environment. And I don't think that it would have contaminated our thinking. I just think
yeah,
it would have helped us, navigate a little bit more and not be so awkward,
yeah,
read and just like have a better transition.
yeah. Are
Um,
you an oversharer? Do you overshare like with people?
no, I don't think so.
Yeah, I was wondering if it's a common trait with people
Um,
go to see.
I mean, I don't think I overshare. Nobody's ever told me that I have.
That's probably not
Um,
then.
but I have made a choice that I'm not going to let CEDU define me in any negative way.
That's
That
awesome.
I have a lot of gratitude towards my grandfather that cared enough about me to spend over $50,000 a year on trying to do something instead of
Right.
nothing to, in his mind, save me. So it's a very selfless thing for him to have done for me.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I have a lot of gratitude for that. And it is part of what has shaped me for who I am today.
Right, 100%. Yeah.
So I don't resent that. And you know what? I continue to do work in my life even after the fact. Like that was just the beginning of me trying to kind of figure out and navigate this life and, continue to develop better coping skills and communication and, relationship school skills. And, all of that was a stepping stone for me. It was
Yeah.
a very intense stepping stone. But that has, been the start. So that's my experience. I respect other people that have a different experience and, are still working through it. I feel sad for them that, it's just still an anchor.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that there's not enough healing around that.
Yeah.
It's got to be really, really hard.
Yeah. Can you listen to Imagine by John Lennon?
So I don't care to listen to a lot of freaking CEDU songs, especially John Denver.
He's the one that I'm like, I can still listen to Eagle and the Hawk, and I'm like, I am the eagle that live. I'm like, oh, it's pretty good.
No, I'm not. Like, there are certain songs where I'm just like, I don't want to. Nope, turn it off. Like Simon Garfunkel, turn it off.
Family Guy? Do you watch Family Guy?
Not that often.
There's this episode where they're all singing "The Rose" by Bette Midler, and I was like, I can't listen to, I can't. It made me so upset because it's such a gorgeous song. Like,
yeah,
I've like almost crashed my car before trying to change the channel when Imagine's on. Like, I'll hear that dim. I'm like, nope.
Yeah, I don't. I can pass on a lot of them. Even Neil Diamond's, like, they would play that shit on blast in the house. I know. I think like John Denver was like our like peer group song.
Oh yeah, you guys wanted it to be One by U2, but they didn't like the lyric and leave a bad taste in your mouth. And so they made it, yeah.
They made us pick some dumb song.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't even think that we had that when we yeah. Oh, things that something people want to know. Does anyone maybe it was even you. People were wondering where like Dario is and Joey Ramirez.
I thought Dario passed away.
No, really? Where did you hear
Why
that?
Why do I think that?
I don't know, because I know he's nowhere, and I feel like he would have,
do not quote me on that. I thought maybe something happened where he passed away. But I could be very wrong, so I don't want to start that rumor.
No.
I know that a lot of people that I went to school with, well, not a lot, I mean, like a handful, have passed away either for health issues or suicide or other reasons. So I don't think there's one person in my peer group that like I never heard from again, which was Chris
Webb, right? Yeah, huh?
Yeah.
I hung out with Tina Rahman about 10 years ago, maybe 9. She came to New York City, to Manhattan. She got in touch with me. And so I came, like, I hung out in New York for like 2 days with her, and we went to like the Empire State Building and did like really corny stuff. We were walking around Times Square, and this guy comes up to us with a sign. He's like, "We need people to fill seats. Dave Chappelle is doing a secret show. We need to fill seats. Will you come watch?" And Christina, she was like, "I'm really hungry. Let's go to McDonald's." I was like, "Okay, this is the most famous comedian in all of America right now. We have to go to this." And she's like, "No, I'm so starving. Let's go to McDonald's." I was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe that you're going to make me miss seeing Dave Chappelle so you can eat McDonald's." And we go into the McDonald's, and the guy follows us. He's like, "You know that I'm kidding. I'm serious." I'm like, "I know that you're serious." She has no idea who Dave Chappelle is. And so for the rest of the 2 days, we just talked to random people. I'm like, "Who's the like most famous and funny comedian like in the world right now?" And they'd be like, "Oh, Dave Chappelle." I'm like, "Okay, thank you." She had no idea.
Tina Rahman was a good person.
And it was like she was there, and like we were talking about like why she was there, and she was there because she got tricked too, because it was like an educational consultant. It was like they just like picked like any school in America, and it just happened to be.
Yeah, she did not need to be there.
How did they treat her? Did they treat her like a little easier because they figured that out, or?
Pamela Bell loved her.
I think she did.
Yeah, she really favored her. She went to India with her.
She what? Pam flew to India? Was that what you just said?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Pam flew to India on a home visit with Tina.
Wow.
Yeah, Tina didn't get to go home that much.
Well, no, and I remember that like one time, she was really sad because like, like she had to get her clothes when like, somebody would take her shopping or whatever. Or it was Bangladesh, I think,
Yeah.
or her parents were in
Yeah.
India at the
Jackson
time.
used to call her the Bangladeshi bomber.
I remember that too, and that's so not cool now. It's so not cool. But she seemed like really
Oh,
good. She was like,
Tony was in our peer group. That's right.
did you forget Tony?
Tony, Anthony.
Do you know, like they would always talk about cheese, and they'd be like when they came back for like Elena Gardner's graduation, there was like this cheese plate that had been put out, and like Adam Egget was like, "Remember how we'd always be like cheese?" She's like, "I don't even really like cheese."
Yeah, it was Tony, Jackson, and Adam. They were hilarious.
Yeah, I was remembering Burrito Boy and Marmalade Man.
Yep. We did a skit on that at our House of the Summit or whatever.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah. Jackson and Adam did the Marmalade Man and Burrito Boy. That was fun times.
Yeah. I mean, that's in that. Yeah, those were those are the parts I want to remember too. Oh, you're Jewish. Did they even celebrate? There was no Hanukkah. Was there a Hanukkah? There was nothing. I just remember there being the Christmas was just like the most sad day of all the days. Like it was like, because they also like, I remember like getting presents and you'd open them and they'd immediately take them away because you couldn't have them. And
you only get 10.
Oh, you were allowed 10? Is that what you said?
You were only allowed a max of like 10.
Oh, I was like,
and they gave like a list of what the parents could shop for.
Oh, I remember getting nothing. So like I'd get something and it would be like a purse from like my aunt, and they're like, oh, you can't have that, obviously, or like it'd be like things that were just.
Yeah, I cried the first Christmas. I went on like December 1st, and that was my Christmas away from home, and I cried and I cried and I cried.
Yeah,
it was so hard. But yeah, well, I appreciate this conversation.
Yes, I'm sorry for keeping it for so long. Thank you for talking to me for super long.
No, it's fine. And if you're ever in the area, just give me a buzz. Love to see you in person.
I would love to see you too. Thank you so much for talking to me. Yeah, and make sure you send this to me so I can put it in the.
I will. I'll figure out how to get this recording to you.
Yeah, and if you talk to anybody, like like if there's any, as many different opinions as I can get, I would really love to put in it. And yeah, it's gonna be a long time thing, but I'm super excited. Thank you, Heather, and I will come visit you very soon.
All right, take care.
Bye.
Bye.